Hey guys, welcome back to Buzzer to Buzzer. Alrighty guys, so NFL free agency has officially opened and we got some big players making some big moves. We already covered 4 big moves in our past couple of videos, but today we're going to be talking about the team led by Bill Belichick, the New England Patriots, who guys have been the biggest spenders in free agency over the past 2 days since the legal tampering period opened up. They spent over $200 million. Initially they had $60 million in cap space, but that has gone in the red, I'm pretty sure by now, when they have acquired a bunch of players. I believe it is 8 players from tight ends to running backs to other pieces on the offense and defense. Our thoughts on Bill Belichick being ready to spend money to win the AFC East.
You take a look at last year, and obviously Cam Newton wasn't a good, he wasn't a good quarterback last year, but I think a lot of it had to do with his surrounding cast. And I think Bill Belichick realized that, and he went out in free agency and he got, I think, the 2 best tight ends available, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. So I think he solved a big problem that they had on the offensive side last year, and they made a lot of other great moves as well.
I think out of all the players that he picked up, that Bill Belichick picked up in free agency, I think Jonnu Smith was the best addition to that team. Looking at the Patriots offense last year, right? They didn't really have a lot of weapons, like Arian said, but Jonnu Smith, he's a great tight end for the Titans. He did great under Ryan Tannehill. I think that Cam Newton and both Bill Belichick and Cam Newton can utilize him, and maybe they can be a great team again.
I think Bill Belichick is gearing up in offense, and on the defense, a team ready to make a deep playoff run. They're bringing in every single offensive piece they need. They brought in Nelson Aguilar. They brought in the tight ends. They brought in Judon on the defensive side of the ball. And all they really need now is quarterback. And they signed Cam Newton, but I think with their first-round pick, they're most likely either going to trade up or take a quarterback since there's so many available. And they're going to make it a competition in training camp and OTAs. It's going to be Cam Newton versus whatever quarterback they draft, and I think that's going to gear them up for a good offensive firepower, weapon, attack, strong monkey.
For sure, Harsh, keep on listing those vocab words. But right now, their offense, they keep on building it up. Like Arnie said, Cam Newton last year didn't really have anybody, but this year, Bill Belichick, he's ready to bring everything on the table, from Nelson Aguilar to the wide tight ends like Hunter Henry. So one of the moves which I am surprised by, though, is them bringing in Jalen Mills. He's a pretty good safety coming out, but they already got the McCourty brothers who got that spot locked up. So is there going to be competition? Are they going to be splitting it equally? That's going to be interesting to see. But the AFC East is looking good for the Patriots. I feel like last year that was just a slump. But Bill Belichick and Cam Newton, I truly feel like are ready to bounce back and win that division.
You can't also forget last year the Patriots had, I think, like 4 or 5 starters on defense who opted out for the 2020 season, and I think they're going to be back. Dante Hightower, Patrick Chung, all those guys, they're going to be back next year. So I really think they're going to be a great defensive team next year with all these pieces.
So considering all the moves that the Patriots have made so far, last year, that the Bills, they were offensive firepower, 13-3, won the AFC East. Did the Patriots have a chance to top them or come second? What's going on?
I think the Patriots can definitely come second. I don't see them beating the Bills. I think Josh Allen's too good, and obviously their offensive firepower is amazing on the Bills. But I think the biggest question mark is going to be a quarterback. Can you get a good Cam Newton back? He doesn't have to be MVP, but can you get a decent Cam Newton? Because then they can definitely contend. But if we get the same Cam Newton you got last year, then I don't see them going too far.
I think it's really, really hard for them to beat the Bills, like Arden said. And I don't see them winning the division, because especially with the Bills, I don't think they're going to lose any major weapons. Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, I feel like that's all they need to get that many wins, to be honest. So the Patriots are rebuilding their team, and Cam Newton can't play like how he played last year. I think if he plays like close, maybe even half of how he played in his MVP season, they can go somewhere. But without that, a QB is the most important position on that field, and they're not going to go anywhere if he performs bad.
Free agency usually comes in around 2 to 3 waves, and we're sort of nearing the end of the first wave here in the next couple of days. But it's going to be interesting to see what moves the Bills and the Dolphins make. I think the Dolphins are the real threat for second place. I think the Bills still have this division locked up away. They're maybe 1 or 2 pieces defensively away from being the team they were, maybe someone on the O-line. And looking at that, they can address that in the draft or sign someone in the second or third wave of free agency. But for them, it's the Dolphins. Can they compete with the Dolphins? That should be their mark. The Dolphins are a great team defensively, and if Tua can take a major step up or even a slight step up, that team is going to be what they're going to be competing against for the wild card spot.
For sure, I think last season you can attest a lot of the Patriots up and downs, especially with Cam Newton, with COVID-19 protocols. Cam was in and out of there a bunch of games, and I feel like that inconsistency really hurt them in the long term. Now, this season, do I think that they can outshine the Bills? Probably not. That first seed is locked up by the Bills. But the second seed is going to be interesting to see. It's going to be the Dolphins or the Patriots, and I truly feel like that if Cam's playing successfully, consistently with this new squad, when the chemistry is good, they can secure that second spot. Alrighty, guys, well, those are our thoughts on the Patriots making some big moves throughout the first couple of days of free agency. We'll be covering more as more news comes about. But, guys, take care. As always, be sure to like button, subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the next one.